I'm Greg Powell, and this is Investors Insights.
You're listening to Investors Insights with President and CEO Greg Powell and the Portfolio Strategy Team at Five Plan Partners, Ashley Page and Franklin Bradford.
Hey, thanks for joining me today. I am thrilled to be with Mike Koenigs, who is just an incredible individual, and I think he will give you some fantastic information here in the next few minutes. But before I ask Mike some questions, I just want to start off by giving you a little background information on why I think he's dynamic at what he does. Mike is CEO, or I like to say Chief Disruptasaurus. Mike and I've laughed about that because in so many ways with the new business models out there, he's causing a lot of disruption. And he's also founder of Traffic Geyser and Instant Customer. He's best-selling author. He's founder of Instant Customer. He's creator of Author Expert Marketing Machines, Make, Market, Launch It, and the Top Gun Consulting Toolkit. His products and services have simplified and automated marketing for over 30,000 small businesses, authors, experts, speakers, coaches, and consultants in more than 60 countries. He's a philanthropist. He's got a huge heart and has raised over $2 million for the Just Like My Child Foundation, building schools, hospitals, and training in Uganda and Senegal. And originally from Minnesota, Mike lives in San Diego, California, with his wife and son. And so, Mike, thanks for joining me today. Just by the introduction, everyone can tell how busy you are. You're definitely an energetic kind of individual. And I've been around you long enough to know you love to make a difference in people's lives. So thanks for taking time out to do this.
It's a pleasure and an honor. Thank you, Greg. It's always nice to share and teach.
Yeah, well, we've got a lot of business owners watching this vlog, and I wanted to just start off with some questions here. First of all, in your experience, what areas of marketing do small business owners need to improve on or maximize the most?
Well, I think when you get down to it, every business owner and every business and every individual for that matter needs to be marketing all the time. And the real big idea is in this day and age, I like to reframe the way you think of the business you're in. And when I ask someone, what business are you in? And they'll say, well, I'm a certified financial planner, or I am a chiropractor, or I am a fill in the blanks here, whatever it is. And I'd say, no, the way to think about the way you're in business now or what you're in business is you're in show business. It is up to you to show your prospects and your customers that you care, that you deliver a quality product, that you're sharp as a tack, you're energetic, you love your customers, and you are always engaged with them in some way, shape, or form. And in order to do that, the new way of marketing is something we call You Everywhere Now. The idea is making sure that your message, your advertising, your marketing is seen, it's heard, it's read on any device, anywhere, anytime. And that means being seen, heard on a mobile phone, on a desktop or laptop computer, on a tablet, on a television, in a car even. And it's possible now to have the largest brands in the world, Google, YouTube, Apple, and Amazon, and Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and all the social networks spreading and sharing your message with the entire connected planet. And one interesting statistic is 73% of the human race is engaged with social media every single month right now. Wow. So the opportunities to take advantage of free networks and free distribution are greater now than ever before if you understand what to make and when to make it and how to get it out there. And you don't have to be a technical genius to make it happen.
So to use technology to replicate yourself, your message, and your brand is what you're saying.
Absolutely. That is exactly correct.
Yeah, that's great. I think so many business owners miss that. They have a small business, and if they think small-minded, it creates a small world for them to operate out of. And you've always had that great message of how to embrace technology. How have you been able to help small business owners do this? I've had business owners where I've shared ideas with them before, and they go, "Oh, I don't have time to do this," or it's hard to teach old dog new tricks, I guess. So how have you been able to get small business owners to open up their minds and their attitude to do this?
Well, I think the first way is One of the things that I've done, and kind of the way the story goes, I'll give you a little backgrounder just to kind of seed this, which is 18 months ago, I was laying at the Duke University cancer ward being treated with chemotherapy and radiation for stage 3A cancer, and I was surrounded by a lot of people.
You went through some rough times there, yeah.
Yeah. But I was surrounded with a lot of people who were dying, and there were times when I feared for my own life, and it was then that I became completely obsessed with the idea of writing a book in the event that I left my wife and my son behind, and also having some kind of a legacy piece.
Right.
Now, what happened was I had about an hour of available energy a day, and with my mobile phone, all I did is I answered questions, I told stories, and I wrote, published, promoted, and became a #1 best-selling author in only 30 days, even though up until then I never really considered myself a writer. But more importantly, since then, I've helped almost 300 people write, publish, promote, and become top 10 best-selling authors, including, I even have some props here, a 9-year-old girl who used the same method and wrote 4 books in only 3 months, all of which became top 10 bestsellers, also
That's
actually
great.
#1 bestsellers. So I like to say, if a 9-year-old girl can do it, anyone can do it. And the point of this is this. It is possible. Right now, we're using Skype, you and I, and using nothing more than a built-in webcam and a cheap microphone, we're doing an interview. Well, this interview that we're making, with me just answering questions, you interviewing me, we could easily transcribe it, and we can broadcast it live to tens of millions of people simultaneously using Google or YouTube technology. We can save it into a podcast and allow Apple to distribute us to their audience of 1.8 billion. We can even transcribe this and have it edited and get a book cover made. My first book cover right here, you can get a book cover made on Fiverr.com for $5, but the whole idea is, without having to write, you could become a best-selling author and use this methodology of just answering questions. So what I like to say to anyone is, if you like to help people, if you can just answer questions or tell stories or interview another expert, you can become a best-selling author. You can have your own online radio or television show. You can broadcast and interact live and engage with your audience, your prospects, your customers, and encourage them to invest more in your products and services and allow you to deliver even more value into their lives. And this is a model that I've found to work in any niche, in any topic, anywhere in the world. And it's easy. So the good news from that little story is, I just came back from my surgeon last week. He looked at me and said, "You're going to be just fine. I see no reason why it's ever going to come back." And so in the process, I've also written 6 best-selling books over the past 18 months. So and look, I barely passed high school. I never went to college. I'm one of those guys. So if I can do it, anyone can do it. If a 9-year-old girl can do it, and if you have some kind of a mission, a vision, and you want to affect and help more people and do it more effectively, I would say that you have everything you need inside you right now. What you might be lacking is a system or some confidence, or you might be carrying around something I call the but monster on your back, which is a giant behind, like a backpack, and it's all the reasons why you can't. And they're all illusions, okay? Everyone can learn how to do this.
Sure. Well, first of all, it's great to hear your news about you personally.
Thank you.
And then what you did in that time period to take a very stressful time and turn it into such an incredible positive time is fantastic. So in essence, what you're saying, it doesn't matter what business you're in, it doesn't matter how old you are, that there's opportunities all around you.
Yes.
That's great.
And I think, I actually go so far as to say, I think it's your birthright. I think it is, if you are a conscious human being, and you are on a quest to eliminate your own ignorance from your life and to become more enlightened and more connected with your faith, your spiritual practice, your creator, whatever, or whatever your belief system is, I believe it's your responsibility to share more of who you are. The gift we were given of life is, by our creator, is the greatest gift ever. And the way to give glory to your creator, to your spiritual purpose and existence, is to give more of yourself and become fully realized in whatever way you can. And one of the best ways of doing that is by delivering and providing some form of transformation to not just yourself and your family and your community, but also to your customers and your clients. What it really comes down to is, I believe that we have a responsibility. That's ultimately what it is. For those of us who are fortunate, whether we were born at the right time, we're privileged, we are wealthy, and there are so many people. I believe human suffering simply does not need to exist. And really the distinction, the real distinction is it's a matter of education. And
I agree,
it's a matter of someone providing value. And,
sure.
and it has to start with us. And
Yes.
what I was really driving at here is, for the first time in human history, you can literally pull out your mobile phone, shoot a video, press a button, and it can be made accessible to billions of people with the click of a button for free. And prior to this, there were publishers that stood in your way, there were broadcasters,
very true.
was the newspapers, the magazines, or whatever it was. Someone owned and controlled mass media, and no longer. It is such a disruptive time, and with that, you can become immeasurably wealthy as a result if you understand how to just pull this out and how to distribute it, and then essentially multiply yourself. And that's really what this is. This, I see it as. This
Right.
is a huge point, a huge time in human existence and history.
Yeah. Well, you're such a visionary on this. Let me ask you this. Where do you see the future of marketing for business owners going? You've talked about this is where we're at now.
Yes.
In one of the conversations, dialogues I've had with people who've protested about, I don't have time to do it, I don't understand it. So I'm trying to get them to understand in their business model, in their company, they need to start understanding it, because in the next 5 or 10 years, we're going to be at this level. And if you don't start embracing it now, you're probably going to be out of the game later on. Any insight of what you see down the road?
Yes. I'm going to give you a couple ideas, and I think the way I'm going to open it up is with a little story that I think is relevant. So I think the first yeah but that the yeah but monster says is, I don't have time. And what I will tell you is, if you have ever answered the same question more than once to a prospect, a customer, or an employee, then what you have is a giant excuse and you have a lot of time. So what if you could just answer the same questions just once, and then make sure that that was an audio, it was a video, it became a book that could be shared or given away. And from this moment forward, you wouldn't have to retrain your employees again. Okay,
yeah.
That's an issue we all deal with, right? What if you had prospects coming to you, pre-qualified, ready to buy, and in fact, they saw you as an authority and even a celebrity in your niche, and were willing to pay you 2 or 3 times more than you're charging right now, and didn't want to work with anyone else because they didn't even notice or recognize that there's actually competition. To you, you became competition proof. So I would say those would be 2 compelling reasons why. So here's a little story. Okay, I have a customer. Okay. His name is John Cote, C-O-T-E, and he actually followed one of our systems, and he's actually gone through a lot of our programs, and he's become a consultant. He was previously a Marine, and then after retiring from the Marines, he flew commercial airlines, but his wife had cancer twice. He has a son who has some special needs, and he himself just got burned out. And if anyone knows anything about the airlines these days, the pilots aren't exactly taken care of anymore. That's a market that's been disrupted as well for all sorts of reasons.
Sure.
So I remember him coming to one of my live events, and he walked up to me and says, I just need to get off of this squirrel wheel, and I want to do something else. So he got one of my programs, and it basically taught him how to do local and mobile and social media and video marketing for other small business owners. So that's one thing we do is we teach people either how to do it for their own businesses or do it for other people. Well, along the way, he took his knowledge and he ended up writing, this is his first book. It's called Mobilize Your Customers. And the subtitle is Create Powerful Word-of-Mouth Advertising Using Social Media, Video, and Mobile Marketing to Attract New Customers and Skyrocket Your Profits. Well, here's what happened. He wrote this book, put it up on Amazon, and it not only quickly became a bestseller, because that's one of the things we've been teaching, but more importantly, he got a call from a woman who runs an event, and it's this event is for doctors and hospitals that do something called medical tourism. Now, John had never heard of this before, but it's when you actually go and might get, let's say, either some sort of therapy work done, or maybe plastic surgery or reconstruction surgery, or even gastric bypass or gastric band, all sorts. They're all over the world. There are these really high-quality hospitals in Thailand and Mexico and Costa Rica that are like spas. They're really, really affordable, and you get even higher quality care, and some of them specialize in things that just aren't done as well here in the U.S. So what wound up happening is, while he was speaking, he used some of our strategies for building leads, and he had several of the doctors out of 200 people there who walked up to him and said, "Will you work with me and help me grow and build my business?" And of course, he picked up some good clients. But on the way, he also said, well, heck, he realized there was a market there, something he never even knew existed, and clearly there was need for his skills. So he started a medical tourism podcast where he started interviewing doctors. He started interviewing people who had gone and done medical tourism. He actually interviewed me because I was treated in the United States, but I actually traveled from San Diego to Duke to have my treatments done. Well, anyway, all he does is interviews, doing just what we're doing right now. So of course, if you can ask questions and interview an expert, you've got everything you need. And if you have a laptop, which is what you have right now if you're watching and listening to us. So either way, what wound up happening is he started recording these episodes, and in only 10 weeks, he became the #1 health podcast on Apple. And remember, they've had over 1.8 billion podcast subscriptions. So it's like you're getting in front of a whole new customer base for free. But more importantly, he's now being approached by hospitals and these institutions all over the world who want to sponsor him, advertise him, and better yet, whenever he calls up, if you think about this, what's the perfect way to gain access to your perfect customer? Why not interview them, and at the end of the interview say, I have an idea about how you can grow your business and access more customers. Now he's seen as an authority and expert, and they're literally inviting him in to do work for him or them without even talking about competition. So he's literally broadcasting to his perfect audience, picking up lots of new business, and he's become the authority on medical tourism inside of a few months. And here's another kicker. He's taking his best podcast episodes and turning those into a book, and he's been asked to come back to this event and be their keynote speaker this year. So it's holy cow. Yeah. So that's a tiny example. It's one example of what's possible, but literally anyone can become an authority and an expert in the #1 go-to person on virtually any topic just by interviewing or being interviewed. And you've got the biggest brands in the world, Google and YouTube and Apple and Amazon, who are willing to distribute you and your content for free and even pay you for the privilege, because when you sell a book on Amazon, they give you 70% of the money. It's the best deal ever. You're getting highly qualified prospects and customers, and they'll publish you for free. You don't have to have any permission, and it's literally as easy as answering questions and helping people. Now, there's a few technical details. I don't want to oversimplify it, but if a 9-year-old girl can do it, I can assure you, you can do it too.
Right. Well, that's an incredible story. In fact, I was going to ask you, what specific skills do business owners need to begin developing to prepare for the future? I think you just answered that question. Yes. I think you just basically gave them all the information they need and the stepping stones on how to do that.
Yes.
So any other insights?
I've got more examples here too. Just I could go on for days about this, but keep on going here. I hope you're having fun.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, any other things or topics that business owners need to be aware of in regards to this? One thing that you just feel like that, an idea, a takeaway from this interview that, that they would just go, aha, I get this. Anything you want to add to it? Any final words of wisdom?
Sure. Well, I think here's the structure. I'm going to actually give you the step-by-step structure that I teach. And also, there was one other trend that I left out. So I'm going to give you the trend first, then I'll give you the structure. Something that is about to happen in a massive scale is just like the internet disrupted the media world, newspapers and classified ads and all of, direct sales, for example. It also, Apple disrupted the music industry and now the movie industry as well. Television is really kind of the last big, entity or thing to really fall. But I believe Apple is going to fully and completely disrupt television very shortly. And so why does that matter to a business owner? It's because it's possible, again, using simple off-the-shelf technology, nothing more than your mobile phone, that you can create online radio and television. You can write and publish books. And you can be seen and heard and viewed and read anytime, anywhere, in any device, anywhere in the world on demand. Television's going to go through that too. And when we get back to this idea, this notion of show business, just about every big talent soon in Hollywood and the rest of the entertainment community is really going to get their head around it. And that's when this is really going to explode. And what it means is it fully legitimizes you creating engaging content for your clients and customers more than ever before. And if you're not on the bandwagon, what I predict is that it's going to be hard to stay alive and it's going to be hard to stay in business. So I'll call that box, the other big predictor here. So with regards to the step-by-step, here's what I've been teaching people to do is to learn how to tell what I call their hero story, their transformation story. And what that is and what it means is when at any given time, if I said, Greg, why don't you tell me a story of transformation, the best customer you've ever had, and something you did with or for them. You noticed that they were struggling at first. They went through some sort of an awakening process, and then they had a transformation. They earned more. They were able to give more. Maybe they improved the quality of their life for themselves, their family, their children. And I would assume you've got a story like that you can tell. You probably got hundreds
plenty
of them.
Stories. 34 years in my industry, yes, I've got plenty of those.
Good. So if all you do is you come up with your favorite story, and that's really going to be the opening chapter for your book. It's the opening chapter for your next speaking engagement, your next television appearance, or whatever it is. And beyond that, you'd answer the top 10 questions you get asked all the time about your business, your products, and your services.
Yeah.
Those are the first 10 chapters of your book. And what I've done is I've always done a little process that I've shown people that in 3 minutes, I can show them just how to answer the top 10 questions they get asked all the time and the top 10 questions they should be asked. Most people can come up with 5 to 15 questions in 3 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
So given the fact that that's 3 minutes, they can come up with 5 to 15. That means in an hour, they could come up with anywhere from 100 to 300 questions, okay? And 20 questions is enough to fill a book if all you did is asked the question and you answered them. So most people are walking around with an hour of focused concentration, which is just like taking yourself out for a lunch. You have enough in you to probably write 5 or 6 books worth of content and create short episodic shows like a podcast like we're talking about for a year, okay? And once people get their head around that little notion, it might sound unbelievable at first, but I've proven it in front of audiences and online for years and years and through my books, that people walk up to me and they go, that moment changed my life. And that's when I started. I wrote my book. I started my own online podcast. I now have been asked to be interviewed on TV. And I was thinking about one funny example. I'll give you one last example on that topic. This girl, or a woman named Sandy Masori, she creates balloon exhibits for trade shows. Okay, before that she was a balloon artist. So if it can work for a balloon artist, it can work for anywhere. Anyway, she wrote, her first book was called The Ultimate Guide to Inflating Your Trade Show Profits: How to Increase Branding, Recognition, Visibility, Customer Loyalty, and Attract More Attention with Balloons. So she used the same model I described, just answering the top 10 questions.
Yeah.
Made her book. It was published and became a bestseller in 30 days. And this last Christmas season, she got asked to be a balloon and party expert on the Today Show. And now she's being asked back again. Okay? She wrote her second book called The Event Planner's Essential Guide to Balloons, because what she found is the best way to get under her ideal customer is to actually get to be friends with event planners who influence and persuade all the people at trade shows.
Yes.
So now she gives away this book to event planners who give them to her customers, and she's getting very warm, ready to buy leads. And when they say, yeah, this lady was on the Today Show and she's a best-selling author, do you think they're even going to dispute or argue the price?
Right.
She's the only game in town. So
that's good.
Yeah, and I've got financial planners. I can tell, again, every imaginable story, how it gets your foot in the door, and it's not just about the book. It's about you everywhere now. So There you go.
That is a great story to end on. Thanks for sharing that. As always, every time I'm with you, I walk away with tons of information and enthusiasm. And I appreciate your passion for what you do, as well as the fact you care so much. So Mike, final question here. People are going to be calling in or emailing us, asking us, how can I learn more about Mike's services and products? How can they get in touch with you to learn more or have access to your products?
It's my pleasure. So I'm going to give you my email address, a phone number, and a way to get my book for free as well. So my direct email is Mike Koenigs, it's MikeKoenigs @gmail.com.
All right.
I also have a phone number that you can call, which is 858-412-0858. And to get a copy of this book, it's called You Everywhere Now. It's about getting your message out. A lot of what we talked about today.
You can I've read it. It's great.
Okay, you can just go to trafficgeyser.com/YEN. And you'll actually get a copy of the book for free that you can read on your computer, your desktop, your tablet, even your phone if you'd like to.
Yeah, that's outstanding. Thank you for doing that. I've read the book, as I said, and it's an excellent book. A lot of great information. So, Mike, that's very generous of you to offer that. So, thanks, because I know we've got a lot of people that will want to reach out to you. So, thanks again.
You got it, Craig. Thank you.
More information at fiplanpartners.com. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA, SIPC.